Can you guys see this? Yes. Okay. We are moving in the right direction. All right. Okay. So welcome to our team call. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Payton Peoples, and I am a 3-star diamond coach, and I'm founder of Team RenewMe. And I did not get glamorous for you guys tonight. Sorry about that. But I have been really getting into my personal development, and I've been reading this new book, and it kind of just sprung a thought for me to host the call talking about the hidden opportunity versus mastery and information overload, because I feel like in the fourth quarter, you can do one of two things. You can do, hardcore, balls to the wall, like working really hard to hit goals and deadlines and whatever, or you can just get super overwhelmed and just shut down and not do anything, which both of them have pros and cons. So I feel like this is a really good topic to cover going kind of into fourth quarter and pushing towards whatever goals we all have for the end of the year. So welcome to the call. Wish I could move this, but I can't. Oh, that's better. Okay. So this first slide that I want to talk about, the hidden opportunity, talks about when we're no longer able to change the situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. And when I read that, I was like, wow, that's really true, because, in this business, you can only carry yourself so far before everything that you do depends on someone else. So when you kind of reach that point, it's like, okay, well, I can't change the situation I'm in. All I can do is better me, which kind of moves into the whole vital behaviors and being a product of the product and reading your personal development, because all of those things are going to make you better. And then I loved this that said that your life is formed by the perspectives and philosophies that you adopt, and changing your perspective can create an immediate shift in your life and your business. So thinking about that, what experiences have shaped your life? When you think about like big picture, what have you gone through that's gotten you here today? Because that's unique to you. And then the other part of this was you get paid for bringing value to the marketplace being like the Beachbody opportunity. And if you are not very valuable, you don't make that much money. That was kind of one of those like, ouch moments. But it's true. It's very true. If you're not bringing value to your market, to your customers, then you're not going to make any money in this business. So you have to figure out what sets you apart. Your age and experience do not guarantee a higher income, but your value does. So there are people who have been in this business for 5 or 6 years, but they probably aren't giving the kind of value to their market that they need, and so they're not making the money that they thought that they could. The marketplace is only interested in what you can do that's of value. So you look at some other coaches who maybe only have been doing this for 2 or 3 years, and then it's like, oh man, look at them, look how successful they are. And they talk about their whys and how that makes a huge difference for them. But it's because they're bringing value to their market. And then there are some things in this book that I wanted to read to you guys that says, success doesn't respond to what we want or need. It responds to what we deserve. And this one was a huge one. You might have a desperate need for money to pay medical bills, to help cure a sick child, but as desperate as that child might be, and as sincere as your desire to help might be, what you want doesn't add any value to you personally, and it doesn't offer any value to the marketplace. So the marketplace is unlikely to reward you with the money that you need. So they're only interested in what you can do and give them value-wise. So again, that's kind of like one of those eye-opening moments because you want to be able to help people and you want to be able to give to people. But if you're not giving value that is going to make you stand out, then, what's going to set you apart? So this next one was a really great quote that I loved, that says, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard at your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune. That's, for me, I'm a workaholic. I love to pour myself into my hobbies and my jobs and what I'm just passionate about. So yeah, can I continue those behaviors and make a living? Of course I could. But if I'm not working on myself and putting myself and my family and those priorities first, then I'll never get to the point that I am truly dreaming of. And so, another point was, if you change, everything will change for you. There's another thing I wanted to read for you guys. It says, strive to become a better person, and instead of comparing yourself to others, differentiate. The goal is to be slightly better than you were in the day before. The only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. So this is the whole you versus yourself mentality. So it's not about you versus somebody else, or your success partner, you versus another coach out there, or you comparing your journey to somebody else's coaching journey who maybe has been doing this longer than you. It's truly you against yourself. 9 times out of 10, you are your biggest obstacle, and that is what's going to hold you back and make this more difficult for you if you don't move out of your own way. So then I wanted to focus on the value of time, because time is more valuable than money. You can always get more money, but you can never get more time. So, it's kind of like with kids, they will grow up, the days are long, but the years are so short. You never want to just let that time fly by without really investing into your kids and your family and to yourself. So, you can always, the opportunity to make money will always be there, but you will never get that time back. So you always have to remember that nothing is more priceless than time. So don't waste it. It takes time and consistency to bring value. So this is tying all of those things that we were talking about before together. You get paid for the value, not the time, which is another kind of mind shift thing that you have to tell yourself, because that's a huge difference between network marketing and what you would traditionally do in a desk job, you could say. Because in that sense, you're getting paid for your time. You show up at 9, you leave at 5. I mean, who really works a 9-to-5 job these days? But still, and you get paid for that time. Whereas the value of what you're doing may not be that important. Here, and what we are trying to accomplish, the value is everything. So it doesn't matter. You could put in 40-hour work weeks for a year or two before you really start to see the return on that investment. But then when you do, then things shift in a whole different direction. So the value and the time are so critically important. You have to really focus on becoming irreplaceable, and making sure that you're so good that people can't ignore you. So you're giving so much great advice, or you're sharing so much of your journey that people can't ignore you. That they're kind of like, okay, well, maybe that's annoying, but it's always sitting in the back of their mind. They're always remembering, well, she was consistent, or she has been doing her workouts, or, she does drink that shake, or she's really consistent with clean eating, or she seems to be really knowledgeable about that, or she's just really positive, and I just really enjoy hearing from her in the mornings, or, sharing whatever kind of advice that they may have. You have to brand yourself in a way that people cannot forget who you are, and they will always want to come to you first for something that they may be seeking. So then we're kind of moving into the mastery versus information overload. And I love this quote because it said, amateurs practice until they get it right, professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. So in our sense, it's like the 3 vital behaviors. You have to continue consistently doing it until it's so deeply ingrained into your body that you can't not do them, that it would seem crazy to go a day without doing one of the 3 vital behaviors. In our sense, the amateur may be practicing those things, and it might be, okay, well, I know I have to do the 3 vital behaviors, but I'll try and catch up another day. Like, I just won't do anything, and then I'll do 50 invites at the end of the week. But a professional, looking at it this way, would be doing the 3 vital behaviors every single day, and it would just be balance. It would be, you know what, this is what I have to do today. Done, done, done. Move on with my life. Instead of that weight sitting on you of, oh gosh, I still have to do these things, and that's anxiety, or however those things may make you feel. You have to move from the amateur to the professional mindset. But the being in that immature state of mind, or the amateur state of mind, is typically you will feel very overloaded, and you'll feel very distracted, because the overloaded mindset, there's going to be a lot of information. So let's say you're like, oh, well, I don't really need to do my 3 vital behaviors today, because I'd really rather work on my logo, or I'd really rather work on my blog, or I would really rather, do 10,000 other things. I'm sure you could fill in the blank here, but the distractions of all of that is what's going to differentiate you between information overload and mastery. So the overload of information available can make it extremely challenging to master anything. So because you're so distracted by different things, it can be really hard to just say, you know what, I just need to do the vital behaviors. And when you're overwhelmed, you seek out distractions. So like I was saying, oh, I'd really rather do my blog today, or I'd really rather, record this video, or do this training, or, whatever. So you have to switch your mindset so that you can get to the point where you're not seeking out distractions, that it's just part of your day, every day, to get that done. And then there was a part in this book that I wanted to read to you guys again. It says, yes, to build wealth, you first must build a wealth of knowledge. You need new information, new wisdom, and new ideas to take your business to the new level. But the power lies in how fast you implement the right information to your daily routine. The right information is only part of the equation. The real power lies in implementation. So you have to really switch your mindset here, because not only is it about your knowledge, it's about what you're doing with the knowledge, how fast you're being able to master those vital behaviors, and the value that you're bringing to your market. When you put all of those things together, it's like you're, an unstoppable force. Because mastery is one of the highest forms of performance and success. The only way to become successful is to master the fundamentals. So, this may be like one of those things where you're like, womp, womp, womp. Like, I've heard you talk about the 3 vital behaviors. Like, I'm sick of hearing about it, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you this from being a coach for almost 2 years, and I've heard this over and over and over and over, until you really can say to yourself, I am truly a master at this. You can never use the excuse of, I already know that, I'm tuning that out, until you're truly a master of it, and you are truly in it to win it every single day, come hell or high water, then you can't ever really say, okay, I get it. I know. So, and that's the difference between what we see in these like super amazing top coaches, is because they're at their highest performance and level and success because they have mastered what it takes to get there. So the mature learner is very deliberate with what he studies and what he puts to mind. Achievers focus on listening to something until they've adopted it into their daily agenda and have experienced increased results. So you're teaching yourself, you're in the vital behaviors, you are being a product of the product. and action is the only thing that will ultimately determine your success. So, when you have all of this knowledge in your brain, it's like, okay, what do I do with all of this? You know what you need to do. You need to do the 3 vital behaviors. You need to invite. You need to be a product. You need to read your personal development. And it doesn't need to be something that you hate reading. It needs to be something that you really are like, when your feet hit the ground in the morning, you're like, you know what? I'm ready to read this. I want to read this because I know it's going to make me better. Because unapplied knowledge is useless. It's just taking up space in your brain. So you need to make sure that what you know is what you're mastered at and that it's valuable to your market. So this part was more about the priorities that you're focusing on. And I laughed when I read this because as a mom, and some of you may be able to relate to this, some maybe not, but if you have more than 3 priorities, you don't have any. And at first it's like, okay, really? But when you think about it, it's pretty true because, if I have a laundry list of things in my brain that I'm trying to focus on, I can't, it's like I have ADD. I'm like, okay, a little bit over here, a little bit over there. And then I never feel like I'm truly getting anything done. But if I'm focused hardcore, in 1 or 2 or 3 areas, I get so much more done. So when I was reading this book, it was talking about the 4 different steps to help you set priorities, so that you can really be focused and be better with your time. So one of them is start small, because self-improvement can feel really overwhelming. So realize that you can't take on everything. And if you do, you'll never accomplish anything. So like I was saying, ADD everywhere. So focus on the little things. Choose 1 or 2 skills to focus on at the time and break that skill or skills down into manageable goals. So what does that look like for you? Does that mean that your inviting needs to be 2 to 3 people a day? Or does that mean that your inviting could be 10 people a day? You have to figure out what that looks like for you. And you have to set those realistic, manageable goals for yourself. Start small. Figure out what that looks like. Reflect along the way is the second point. And reflecting and talking about your progress helps you get valuable feedback. It helps you be accountable and cements the change. I often hear about people talking about how many books they've read and bragging about their goal of 50 books this year. I respect their desire to grow, but I'd rather master 3 to 5 books than read 50 that I cannot apply to my business or life. So this is something that I see a lot of people do. I love to read. I'm a huge book person if it's something I enjoy reading about and if it's something that I know is going to make me better. So I can blow through a book like that, but I try to slow down and take my time and really focus on books that are going to help me grow personally where I am, maybe in my health and fitness journey, or maybe where I just need to be mentally for my business, or maybe it's something that I want to read to be a better mom, be a better wife, a devotional or something like that. Sometimes I focus in a little bit of all of those areas, because I am a reader that can be in multiple books at one time. Some people can't. And so you, again, start small, figure out what that looks like for you, but really throw yourself into a book that works for you. Don't just read a book of the top 50, things that so-and-so says is a great book. It is probably a great book, but it may not be the right book for you. It could be something that you're dreading and it could be holding you back. So figure out what works for you and throw yourself into that, because I promise you, once you find the right book and you find the right topic that really lights that fire in you, your business will never be the same. So the third point is challenge yourself to teach it to others. So share what you learned with your team, your managers, your coworkers, your customers. That's what it's saying in the book. So as far as for us, share that. Share it with your team. Share it with your upline. Share it in, if you have your own team page or your upline's team page or in Dynasty United, like share those things that you find are working for you, because, what's the point of reading it if it doesn't sharpen your perspective or improve your results or help your legacy? Why are you spending all this time if it's not ultimately going to help you and help other people? So make sure you're thinking about it like that. And the last one is to be patient. because a lot of times, the whole comparison thing gets in our way, and we start to really think about, well, so-and-so did this in this amount of time, and, why can't I do that? Or why doesn't my journey look like that? Make sure that you're just being patient. Like, take a step back, breathe, and refocus your priorities, because everybody's different. Nothing is going to happen overnight. Nobody went from a new coach to a 15-star diamond superstar coach overnight. There are a lot of steps that had to go from point A to point B. So just be patient and try to focus on the correct areas. Because if you let yourself get drowned out in the whole comparison thing, it will really hold you back in the business. So this last slide, I just wanted to highlight these things that really stood out to me, because people around you will only notice 10% of every 100% change you make. Isn't that crazy? So, you could just become this amazing, or you could have this amazing transformation, but they're only really going to see 10% of that. So that's why it's so incredibly important for you to know that you're giving out value like crazy, because you want that 10% to be positive and fueled with exactly what you want them to know about you. So, don't sit there and use your Facebook as a venting page, or, oh, this is my cute dog, or whatever, you can use those as different things, but you've got it, the value has to be there, or your market is going to check out and go find it from somebody else. So, I saw a really awesome video from Katie tonight talking about spaghetti squash. Those are things that are valuable to her market. So somebody is going to see that, and it could, spurring them to start following her. You never know. Or that could be like the straw that breaks the camel's back for somebody to be like, you know what? She knows what she's talking about. I'm doing this, and I'm going to talk to her tonight. You never know. So making sure that you're always giving really valuable information, because if they're only getting that 10% of the 100%, then you got to make sure it's good all the time. So the simple act of being more intentional with what you study can set you apart from those around you. And successful people are always looking for ways to differentiate themselves. So again, vitals, personal development, being a product of the product. These are all things that are super, super, super important. And I highly, highly, highly recommend you guys go check out this book. It's called 6 Months to Six Figures. I was a little turned off by it at first just because of the title, but it has been a very, very good read. And so I highly encourage you guys to check that out. But that's all I have for you guys tonight. I kind of wanted to keep it short and sweet, but wanted to open it up, see if you guys have any questions. And if you do, shoot them at me. But if not, we'll make sure that you guys can get off the call and spend some time with your family. So anybody got anything? You got to unmute yourself.
Dude, brilliant call. Love it. Thank you.
Good. Glad.
Thanks for giving me another book I have to go buy to read now.
Right. I know. Sorry, but it's really good. You're welcome, Julie. Anything else? All right, guys. Well, I'm going to stop recording. I'll have the link up, so if anybody from your teams weren't on the call tonight, that you can share this with them if you want to. But I guess that's it. So you guys have a great night. Bye.
Thank you.